In life, there are two kinds of stories. A story that you tell others and a story that you live. And the story that you have lived becomes the most interesting story. And I also feel that my own mindfulness journey and mindfulness career is a success because I always talk about my personal journey, my personal story. Because it's only when you have been through a setback or been through some struggles and can overcome it, that's exciting for people. That's reassuring for people that if she can do it, so can I. Now, in the year 2000, I had my facial paralysis. It was very well documented. Every newspaper wrote about it in India. And now, facial paralysis is suddenly being talked about because we have Justin Bieber, one of the world's greatest singers, who suddenly struck with paralysis on the face. In the year 2000, when I had facial paralysis, of course, my career came to a standstill. Being a part of an industry which is so face-oriented, my face looked nothing like it looks right now, or how it looked even before 2000. So my lips were on my right ear. I was speaking with a slur. And it was difficult for me to complete simple tasks like make a phone call or brush my teeth, let alone singing, let alone talking. I had to completely back out of work. But I owe my complete recovery thanks to my amazing parents and to Mindpa, mindfulness, and all the amazing gurus that came into my life. Now, because I was facially paralyzed and my work had stopped, I had to be all alone at home. So that's the number one lesson, that we must love our own company. We must learn to live with ourselves, because what happens is the moment we're all alone, and the pandemic is such a huge example, the moment we have time with ourselves, we run away. What can I do? Watch a movie, hear a radio show, go outdoors, go for a party, or call a friend of mine, or let me watch these series. Very rarely do we say, I'm going to actually do nothing, and I'm just going to observe my thoughts. So because I had so much free time, that's what I started to do, simply observe my thoughts. And when I got into it, I got into meditation naturally. Now, I grew up in a household where my father had worked with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. So my father always talked about meditation, but I never took him seriously. I was this MTV kid, right? But now that I was ill, I suddenly said, okay, let me give this meditation a try. So when I meditated, I really enjoyed it. And I was looking at my library. There was a book, Silver Mind Control, and it suddenly started to expand in my mind, and I wanted to immediately start reading it. I read it and I was blown away that your thoughts attract your life. I started to consciously start thinking about positive thoughts. I started to catch my thoughts when they were negative. But the greatest thing that happened when I was ill was I met my guru, Jack Canfield. And through Jack Canfield, I started my work with the legendary late Louise Hay. Now, Louise Hay had cured her vaginal cancer with just the power of affirmations. That means every illness is connected with a thought pattern. This is what she said, and she wrote her phenomenal book, You Can Heal Your Life. You Can Heal Your Body. I started to turn the pages and I looked at facial paralysis, and guess what it said? Failure to express anger. I was shocked because this completely defined me. I'm exactly this kind of a person. I'm almost nervous, almost scared to express anger, express disappointment, express that I'm disillusioned with you. But that is bad as well, because when you have negative emotions, if you're not letting them out, they will manifest in the form of illnesses. Now, what do you do when you're upset and you're angry? It doesn't mean that you have to go and shout at somebody or you have to scream. Not at all, because guilt will suddenly follow, isn't it? You can do mirror work. The brilliant late Louise Hay explained that you can go in front of the mirror and say whatever it is to the person who's caused you pain, that I am upset with you and you let me down and this is what you shouldn't have done and how could you do this to me, and so forth. So the first thing is that learn to spend time with yourself. The second, identify your emotion that is connected with your illness. Let out the negative emotions. And the third, forgiveness. So difficult, isn't it, to forgive the person who has upset you? But it can be done in a very scientific way. Thanks to the reticular activating system in the brain, whatever you consistently speak about or think about becomes a habit and then materializes in your life. So if you go in front of the mirror and just say, I forgive you, even if you don't mean it, like, oh, I don't forgive this person, I'm really upset with this person. No problem. Just say, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. Your brain will say, I don't believe this. This doesn't make sense. Do it the second day. Do it the third day. Now what happens is that after the seventh day of consistently saying, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, after the seventh day, your body starts to relax. All your emotions which were tight, which were negative and filled with stress and strife start to ease. Now when your body eases, what happens is beautiful, mindful thoughts start emerging. So you will naturally realize, hey, actually, perhaps I was not that understanding too. Perhaps I had a temper too. Perhaps I needed to be more patient. Hey, perhaps I'm constantly thinking only about myself. And in a relationship or in any partnership, it's a two-way street. So your thoughts become much more larger in perspective. They become loving, they become positive, and they become empathetic. Empathetic as in, I start to understand your point of view. I start to place myself in your shoes. And after that comes gratitude. So that was the fourth unique mindset tweak that I learned. I didn't know how to be grateful. I'd lost my face, I'd lost my first relationship, I'd lost my career. I did not know how to be grateful. But when I looked at other people who were paralyzed from neck down or paralyzed on the entire left side of their body, right side of the body, I immediately knew what gratitude is. Thank you, God. Things could have been worse. Thank you, God, for putting me on this amazing mindfulness journey. And this is how I cured my facial paralysis. I started to love my own company, so I never ran away. I got into meditation thanks to that. Second, I identified the emotion connected to the illness. So much so that now, even if I get a cold, I start to say, who can I forgive? Who am I upset with? Why have I got a cold? Who should I forgive? I forgive everybody. I love everybody. So I'm quite funny. My doctors do laugh at me. And the third point, work on forgiveness. Forgive everybody. Because you see, when we know the entire picture, when we know the entire life story, we will realize, oh my goodness, there's nothing for me to be upset about. Isn't it? To know all is to forgive all. And the fourth point, gratitude. So here's wishing you all great health. Because this philosophy of loving yourself, identifying your emotions with any illness, forgiveness, and gratitude applies to any issue you may face in your life. This is the 99th episode of Mindful Mondays, and I wanted to bring about my journey of mindfulness, of mind power. My guru Jack Canfield, my guru late Louise Hay, and my father, late Triloklimba. And I wanted to share this journey with you. I hope this helps. Wishing you all brilliant, glorious health.